Well, my name's Grady Davis, Amundsen Associates. Thanks for having us here tonight.
Let's get you going in just a second here.
You
we
bet.
want to get through a couple more things, and then we'll get to you. We're ready to go. Okay, welcome everybody to the Natrona County Parks Board meeting here. We want to start with a roll call.
Bob Hill here.
Doug Irvin here.
Jim?
Jim Miller here.
And Stuart Hill is here. We all now have the approval for the June 9th minutes.
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes as recorded.
Second.
Any discussions? Being no discussions, all in favor of approving said minutes? Aye?
Aye.
Anybody against? All right. Got that out of the way. The minutes are approved. Mr. Parks Director, looks like we have some folks in here to talk about the Trail Center. You are Parks Director now.
Yes, as of July 1st, I'm now the Parks Director from Natrona County.
Congratulations.
We have Amundsen Associates here to give us a review of the proposed Casper Mountain Trail Center, and I'll hand it over to Grady at this time with Amundsen.
Thank you.
So we're about 5,800, little over 5,800 square feet, steel structure. Obviously, we'll be making a few modifications over the next few months, meeting with everyone. But today we'd like to just give you a little bit of a tour of the building, where we're at, what it looks like, look at the floor plans, square footages, etc., and discuss any needs that might come up today.
Fantastic.
So this would be the entry elevation, which is the, I believe, that'd be the south elevation. The main entry will be on the east of the building. As we pan our way around, views of the trails and up the slope. We have a little bench out front here that people could relax on, waiting for a ride. Or when buses drop kids off, they can congregate and put their skis in racks and wait for their coach to send them out. On the back area here, we have a long covered patio. We're hoping that'll keep most of the snow out. There will be some snow blowing in, but we've made it large enough where they could get good snow removal in there and pump it out. The overhang comes over this wall to allow for accumulation of snow to pack trails off the roof, single slope roof. We have a gas fireplace extending up through. This is an element that does not have to go through the roof if we decide to stop it at the bottom of the eave, because we can vent that gas fireplace right out the sidewall, and that might help on any future roof leaks if we don't send it out through the roof. It's just more mountain looking, you know, it has that alpine feel to it. A lot of glass, a lot of overhang on the front to kind of protect a little bit of that front apron. A few architectural features. Yeah, let's go to the floor plan. That'd be great.
Now, the colors aren't set, so what you've got here is just
No,
something to show us.
they're
Yep.
just for show right now, just to put a element on the model.
Thank you.
We'll go through all of the colors, finishes, all that stuff as we develop these plans further.
Thank you.
So let's start at the front entry. We have an enclosed vestibule. I would think we'd just go to the floor plan, Justin, and then we can zoom in, maybe. Maybe not. And there are some handouts here if you haven't received one that'll kind of show you. But we have an enclosed vestibule that obviously when doors are open, the wind blows, helps keep the balance of the systems better on the inside versus if it was all wide open from exterior to interior. We have 2 bathroom groups, a family restroom, drinking fountain. There's a little space right inside the entry that could be more of an information area where you could set up a table or have maps on the walls, whatever you might want. Panning on down, we have a storage room for tables and chairs or any other storage that you can fit in there. Then we have a mechanical room. That's room 108's a mechanical room. The names of the rooms are not showing up here today, but I think we have a list of them off to the right. And we have a little gate right past the vending area that's right off of the restroom, which is the men's restroom. There's a gate that will secure that area so you can open it up at night and not really have anybody that has access to the other rooms beyond that point. We have the main hall, banquet room, catering kitchen, pass-through window. We've got 3 compartment sink. A lot of this stuff could be rough in. You buy the equipment later, depending on FF&E items and what the budget allows. Then we have the banquet room that has, Justin, I'm going to ask you, how many people do we have in there? Like 87?
Right around 80. Right around 80.
80.
Yeah.
That'll seat 80 people. And that room's a little bit larger than it needs to be, but it could be an area where we can take out a little bit of square footage to align our budget with the monies available. A few questions came up while we were setting up about IT and things like that. And I think we're going to be making a few plan changes here in the next week that will probably allow for an IT closet, a little larger office space, and egress out to the patio for venue access, easier access if we have a venue in the building. But we're open for questions and suggestions.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Gentlemen, any questions? Rob?
Just a couple quick questions. In the dining area there, any thought on using kind of bar top along any of the walls to maximize space or to increase seating capacity? If
What we have there now is a bench, and we thought it would be a good
Okay.
place for kids to gather, plug in iPhones, whatever, charging stations along that wall. We don't have any, we kind of discussed doing maybe a bar top along the exterior patio out there at one time. And it might be that, I think we have a bench out there right now on the exterior of the building, but no real bar tops.
Yeah, I see the windows a little low for that, next to the fireplaces on is that the?
And we can adjust the heights of the
I just-
sills to accommodate any of that. We'll be adjusting these windows a little bit with comments that are going to be coming from Michael.
One other quick question, if I may. This is probably way ahead of the game, but is that kind of like a dry stack, cultured stone that you're looking at? And
Yeah.
how does that do exterior-wise with moisture? I'm just curious on that.
We do a full set. We don't really do the dry stack.
Okay.
It's not recommended for our climate
Okay.
because moisture will get in and freeze and pop them off. We do more of a ledge stone, thick set ledge stone. Mortar pushes out of it, and I think we can accomplish a good product with what's available.
Okay, thank you.
Jim, any comments, questions?
No, I don't at this time, thank you.
Okay.
And we
So-
do have some acoustic panels. These are just there for show right now. We have not done the study on how many we might want in there, but we would probably do some sort of acoustics on that ceiling. And then also above that ceiling, we'll probably finish it out with more of a, it may be metal, but it may not be. It may be a composite product to give you the wood filling. And floor finishes, we don't really have floor finishes shown as to if it's a wood grain pattern look, product-wise. Might be a luxury vinyl tile or rubber, and we're still looking into those finishes.
Yeah, one of the things on the floor is we're looking for traction due to the boots, so that's why they're looking at like the rubber flooring and those types of things to investigate further.
And we may look at a couple of different options that we can break it up so it's not one big monolithic color, kind of get some pattern in that floor. We're thinking we'd use like a walk-off carpet that's easy to vacuum, easy to keep clean, moisture resistant.
Yeah, 'cause that's going to be wet.
And that would go
Area.
throughout the corridor, and I'm not 100% sure. Did we show it on the other side, Justin, or?
No, I was copying it at the gate.
And these are all options that we'll have to really sit down and go over with the design committee for finishes.
They've got kind of a rubberized floor, I believe, at Hogadon. Those are a little bit different boots, a lot slicker, but it works out fairly well.
Yeah, or something that's used in a commercial kitchen kind of thing.
Yeah.
Slip resistant, really. Another design thing I kind of want to point out is we separated the office window and the pass-through window for the kitchen to give quite a bit of room there for presentations so that if somebody wants to use this for in-service or training, or the Nordic ski teams want to do awards, they have a large space to present, slideshows or whatever on that.
I wouldn't think you'd need a window from the office.
Well, the reason for that is so that when staff is in there, they can take a peek out and see what's going on if this room's open. Just kind of a management kind of thing. Provide, because the county's looking at staffing this with the county employee when this large room's open, so it would provide them a way to check on what's going on out there.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a new one, all right.
The opening in the kitchen would have a pull-up, pull-down type door, so it'd be secured unless in use. And the tables shown there are just for like showing a banquet. There'll be plugs and stuff down low right above the table height.
Yeah, it's very much a multi-purpose room. So that's neat.
What's the use plan for, say, distributing of passes? Like if I was a new user, I come up to the building, where would I go to get the pass? And
So the plan there is to staff this during those days, the weekends. And that employee could sell the passes. I think we have, what do they call it, French door, split door,
Dutch.
pass-through door, with a countertop there, so they don't have to come into the office, but they can purchase trail passes if we have staff there. And in the summertime, this could be a location to assist with camping reservations and things like that also. that comes down to IT and making sure we have.
We could do some signing perpendicular to the wall there that when you walk in, you'll see it. That's where you go.
And then the plan for off-hour utilization of this building to access the restrooms and the vending machines would be most likely a timed lock for the front entrance, and that would be in coordination, I don't know what time we'd start it in the morning, but it would shut down when the lighted loop turns off in the wintertime.
Okay. So we got a family restroom. I guess I'm not much for those. Had 4 children, and we took care of them whatever restroom we were in, just with those fold-down walls. Is there a way to get more space in there, those restrooms, to get another latrine in each side?
Now, what are you
Get rid
looking for?
of the, this corridor into the bathroom, the family bathroom, and extend those bathrooms to make.
The family room's a code
Oh, it is?
requirement.
It is.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Thank
I
you.
don't know if you recall, the old lodge had single stalls.
I know, yeah,
And
yeah.
so this
I'm trying to
is-
think in the future to have more, we need as many stalls as possible.
One of the issues you'll run into is with the septic. We don't think we've done, our CPI is doing the analysis on the existing septic. And if we add too many bathrooms to that, we may have to redo the septic, and we're trying to stay away from that at this time.
And if you get to too much volume, then it's a UIC thing. It's a whole nother level of DEQ
Yep.
requirements versus just a septic system.
So we need that answer first.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
CPI is looking at that, and that's probably why we have the limitation of how many
Okay.
stalls we have in there.
And I think Hogadon has that system that you're talking about
Yeah,
that we'd have to go to, which is costly, very costly.
One more quick question. On the west elevation, leaving the dining area, you've got kind of a fixed window there. Is there any thought going into that covered area with a door out of there? Kind of for summer use on is that the west elevation on the top of the page?
that
We're
would
on
be
the-
north.
Okay.
So you're talking from the great
Yeah.
room out to the
Yeah,
patio?
just a thought on that.
Yeah, I just briefly discussed that with Grady before the meeting, that, we should look at an option so that people can use the patio as
Yeah.
well as the great room in and out instead of having to go through a set of doors. and
We
around.
started with the door there, but it was more of a security issue when we started discussing with the group. But we're looking at adding it back in now. It'll probably be a single leaf door but have a lot of other glass in it to let us keep the daylight coming in.
Thank you.
We don't have room for a lot of height on that side. It's the low end, so we'll still put daylighting in there in a companion unit.
Well, in the old place, we had the fireplace in there, we had some furniture in front of it, and that seemed to be where everybody ended up at, trying to keep warm. So I see that happening here, of chairs getting moved to the fireplace is something to consider.
Yeah, and this fireplace will be propane.
Right.
Run on propane, because there's no reason to have a firewood fireplace anymore, and with kids and safety issues and other things, it's just a better system.
My part, is that fireplace gonna have a time set on it so that it's not running 24/7, so people don't walk off and leave it going?
Yeah, I'm sure we probably put some type of thermostatic
Well,
timer
not just-
control
not
on
just
it.
the thermostat, because we're gonna have the other heat in there also.
Right, the forced air.
But as expensive as propane is, I can see somebody walking off and leaving the fireplace going without us having anybody in there.
I would think that would be a maintenance key for somebody to turn it on and off when it wants to be operated. A switch,
We will
keyed switch.
definitely, we'll look into timer control, because, you know, if we don't have staff here and this building, this great room's sealed off, and there's no reason to really run that if the central heating is gonna take care of it, so, we'll look into that as to what that requires to have a timer schedule on it.
I think that'd be more of an event use purpose there,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, Commissioner North's, I think, just concerned that the staff could potentially forget to shut that off when this is open.
I
And
know
then
how
it,
people are.
and then
I
it
I
runs,
could see that happening easy.
yeah, it runs for
Staff
3
and
days.
coaches, I think, yeah.
So,
And so I'm just saying, you know, that's one of those that, I don't have any problem with it being in there, but I just don't want it running when we don't have people in there.
Understand.
you know,
yeah,
so.
and we haven't got to the point of, the mechanical or the control systems, what we're gonna have for lighting and things like that. That'll come once we kind of get this building structure figured out and the layout.
Any more questions?
Yeah, what is the heating system we're going to have in the building?
It would probably be propane also.
And central air, forced air.
Forced air
through,
heat.
Okay.
Tubular ducts in the roof.
In the last lodge, you know, we had heating system in there, but because of the vaulted ceilings, it didn't heat very well until we get the fans in there. So I don't know if that's going to be looked at this time or not.
We would probably have fans in this facility, for sure.
Okay.
And when we're talking AC for cooling, if we're having that, is we going to also consider heat pumps? Because I heat my house with heat pumps and propane, and right now, oh my gosh, am I glad I got the heat pumps, because propane is ridiculously expensive.
So at this time, that'll come at a later date. We'll let the mechanical contractor kind of come up with,
Pitch
What-
the options.
pitch the options and what the best option is and what fits within the county's budget.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that, because, yeah, the heat pump options have a higher upfront investment, but boy, do they decrease your overall monthly expenditures. So that'll be an interesting pro and con to see from those contractors.
Do we know the location on the lot that we're going to put this at?
So this is basically gonna set where the old lodge sat. However, we will not have the ski trail that was in front of the old lodge, because the parking will come up to this. There'll be a loading, unloading zone near the vestibule entryway. And, so all the skiing will go off from the parking lot on the sides, and then the trail will be behind it. So you won't have to walk across a groomed ski trail to get into the building anymore.
So Michael, is there going to be a larger parking lot that's in the future, or are we keeping the same size that we have now?
So that all depends on the budget as to how the building comes in. Priority number 1 is the building. Expansion of the current parking lot would be the second, if funding's available to take care of that. And then, that would be either in phase 1 or phase 2, and then phase 3 would be, a parking lot wing that trends northwesterly along the west side of the building, between the mountain road and the building.
Okay,
And I can show you that when you get back. I have a drawing of that.
great, yeah. If you could save some handouts for me when I get back, I'll take a look at them or I'll stop by.
Yeah.
And there's no concerns about foundational issues? Because I had heard rumors that was part of the reason of the failure of the prior trail center on that location, was
So
potentially foundational issues.
Water's in down
the
below.
current foundation, we did a geotech report on this location as well as another one. The location not shown, that was checked out was gonna require it to be on piers, and would be expensive. The initial geotech on this site says that we can sub-X, I think, 3 to 4 feet, bring in aggregate, and then pour the foundation on it. You know, there's probably some more site design to figure out if we need to French drain it. They may have to do some additional geotech investigation depending on how far out the initial one goes. But the old foundation's pretty solid, really, when you look at it. But it'll all be removed so that we can sub-excavate, put in the appropriate aggregate, allow for appropriate drainage around the foundation. And so that'll come at a later date when things start to get finalized here.
And we would insulate and damp-proof the new one also.
How about the cellar? Are you gonna fill the cellar in?
No, there won't be any cellar. The utilities will leave the mechanical room to the water supply, electrical, and sanitary via trenches. So there won't be any cellar underneath this. It'll just be basically a slab on grade type of design.
We'll be removing the whole foundation that's there now, bringing in fill and starting over.
So it'll be sealed off?
It'll be gone,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Is this essentially monolithic pour, or?
It'll be grade beam.
Okay,
It's still building, so you'll have some pretty significant pads under columns.
gotcha.
And then grade beams running
Okay.
the perimeter. But it will be slab on grade on the
Okay.
inside,
All right.
yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
I guess the only question I have for the Parks Board is, what's your initial feeling on the concept that's been presented to you?
Jim, you want to go ahead with that one? What do you think?
Well, you know, I haven't taken a real good look at it. What I have seen in the previous showing, it looked like it was going to work. I'm not sure if I heard or if it wasn't stated what the capacity of the old building was versus the new building.
I don't know that number, Jim. I haven't been able to locate that in my files. I just haven't had the time for it yet.
So we got, what, 80 people in this one? In the main
Yeah,
area?
that's right.
In the main banquet room?
Is that the occupancy load, or is that just the seating that you represent?
For the building, so we're showing it now is 275.
Yeah, so the occupancy for this building is 275 people, which I think is larger than the last one.
Okay, just to clear a lot of questions that will be coming your way, there is no wax room facility, correct?
Correct.
I don't have any further questions, and
Okay. Rob, any comments?
No, initially, I really like the layout there. I like the idea of flexible space in there as well, too, so compliments on being able to accommodate different groups. I don't know 100% the end users on this, what their needs are for occupancy and things like that, but I like the design and the functionality of it, so thank you.
Doug?
Yeah, just echoing Rob's comments, all looks really good, and hopefully we'll get some of the current users' feedback as we go on. 'Cause I don't see anything else besides, as IT had commented, that get the IT closet in, and it's looking nice.
I agree. We looked at some of this a while back, and this is very close to that concept. I like it. I like it a lot. I don't know what we can do for the waxing part. We once talked about being able to have some area outside covered somehow to do waxing. I don't know how important that is. That's more of a Jim question and the rest of the winter users.
So I've been presented by by Harry Brubaker, a waxing room building concept that he'd like to do at some point. And that could be done over by the stadium area. It would be adequate for the teams to wax in and events could wax in, but it would be a completely separate facility for that. Initially, we kind of put a future location for it near this, but with the possibility of putting that closer to the stadium area where competition happens, it was taken off as a future on any site plan here.
Great news.
And hopefully at that time, the school district is in favor of assisting with that along with the Nordic Ski Club.
That would be great. Otherwise, I'd say this is a great multi-purpose facility. It's not set just to skiers or just to bikers. This is multi-purpose, and
Yeah.
it fits a lot of the bill.
And if you look at the site plan, there's a rectangle up in the top, very top above the building. That space is kind of a future, either one of those spaces is a future outdoor event kind of area that could be leveled out and have some gravel or something on it where if somebody wants to put an outside tent for part of their event, that could be utilized for that.
Yeah, I think at the last meeting, our civil engineer's out of town this week, but we were going to take the outdoor meeting and take it down to the outdoor area, down to the square. The circle will replace the square.
Yeah.
Because there's already there's no trees there, so we won't have to remove a bunch of trees. And that would be the gathering venue area outside.
That'd be great. Any other comments?
We're moving forward.
Yes, we are. Thank you so much, Grady. We appreciate you showing up tonight and doing this for us and presenting for us, and all your hard work. And Michael, appreciate it.
Thanks for having us here today.
Yeah, and I'll follow up at the next meetings after we met further with Amundsen. We have Commissioner Milne, Building Official Justin Smith, our Maintenance Director Tom Poplick involved, and at the last meeting we had Ray Cavalier from the school board. So hopefully this will progress and we can get this done.
That'd be nice.
At this point, after I speak with you guys some more, I'll look at posting this publicly a little bit, trying to get some public comment on this. Thank you, Grady.
Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate it. All right, I guess we'll move on down the line here to the wayfinding.
Yeah, so
Oh, one more second. That last picture you had up of the site, can we get a copy of that for Jim? He didn't get to see it.
I have it.
You do have it?
Yes, I do
Okay.
have that.
That'd be nice.
Yep.
Thank you.
So,
Okay, back to
yeah, on
wayfinding.
the wayfinding sign, we're trying to finalize the contract. County Attorney's Office is working with Keyhole on that so that we can get that finalized and presented to the county commissioners. And I do not believe I don't know if it'll make the July 19th meeting or not. So.
Okay.
With that contract, with the Mountain Road being constructed next year, probably 20 out of the 31 signs will be fabricated but not installed, because there's no reason to install those signs and just have to pull them out for construction next summer, so.
Right.
But we could potentially install the ones on East End Road and Hogadon Road and out to the archery range.
That could also affect our building, getting up to the building to build it, if they get up there in time.
Yeah, and that's something we'll be
construction.
working on, as to how this is all coordinated and scheduled to construction and everything.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
The bear trap shelters, again, the county commissioners accepted Inberg Miller's design for that. I'm waiting on the site plan from the engineers, and Parks is currently working on the State of Wyoming Outdoor Rec Department's grant for supplemental funding for that construction, because most likely with the financial forecast, the east shelter will be funded by the county to be constructed, but not all three this year. So if we could get some grant funding that could match that, maybe we could potentially build the other two, or at least one other shelter at the same time.
Okay.
And that deadline was July 31st. It's been extended to August 30th, so it gives my department a little bit more time to work through that pre-application. Again, the Bear Trap Festival is August 4th through August 7th. I should be having an on-site meeting with them in the next couple of weeks, hopefully in the next week, and see how that progresses. But it'll be similar to last year, minus the little wagon train that they pulled through the park behind an ATV, little carts. We're not allowing that type of thing to go on. It just impacts the meadow too much. Crimson Dawn, that MOU, I have not heard anything from the county attorney or from the Crimson Dawn Association, so I don't know what the status is of the MOU or the status of the state historic park or historic preservation application that they were looking into.
Just a quick update, the unofficial numbers for Midsummer's Eve was in excess of 1,200 this year. So that was a pretty highly attended event.
The Summer Trail Master Plan, they flagged the potential trails. I've looked at some of them. I have some questions. And right now, we're still waiting on a draft of their plan with their mapping. I have some GIS data to look at. And I understand some of it, but it'll be better when I have the plan in front of me to explain some of that. Rotary Park, the Rotary Club brought a youth group up to do trail maintenance, and what they did is below the observation deck in that area, they cleaned off some of the storm debris that was still there that you had to walk over. They did just some light maintenance, filling some holes, and probably picking up some trash. And then I believe, but I haven't seen photos, that they reinforced, I suggested riprap below that footer that's exposed on a bench that's right next to the creek as you walk up to the falls. So I haven't been up there to see what they've done. They also are going to have, the Rotary Club's going to have an evening work party up there, I believe July 20th, to do some more general cleanup, and I suggested, they might look at some of the rebar that's sticking out and try to get that hammered down where it's not a trip hazard and not a safety hazard.
Yeah, okay.
So we're working on Rotary Park to improve that. A new item is the Casper Mountain Biathlon Club has been awarded to host Biathlon Nationals, scheduled for late March of next year. I just met with Rob Rosser from the club on that to see, he provided me the application and what was filled out on that. I had a conversation with him about, what he's looking for, what he's got planned. I followed up with an email. He has some requests of the county, and I did not commit to anything, but he needs to provide a formal letter requesting any type of in-kind services from the county to assist with this, any other things that he feels the county should provide. I also requested he provide me a site plan of where everything's laid out, course maps, in case the county does any of the grooming, parking lot, parking plans, as well as shuttle plans from Bear Trap. He's estimating probably upwards of 200 competitors and looking more like 500 people total for the event. I asked him for a sanitary plan because the 2-stall outhouse is not going to accommodate 500 people over 5 days. I also talked to him about, making sure people have trail passes that are not the competitors for the event. And there's probably several other things I'm missing, but I'm getting him to present the formal request, because I'm not going to operate under I said, he said. We're getting everything in writing to figure this out, because as everybody knows, the county's financial standing right now, there's not a lot of money to leverage to provide even the in-kind services of grooming. And I'm not sure if my staff can do all of the grooming, but the grooming's going to be in question for sure. So that's where that meeting went. So I'm moving along, figuring this out.
Appreciate all those questions. We need that. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey, Michael, if I can help or assist in my knowledge with what has taken place on big events with skiing, I'll sure be able to be available.
Yeah, I'll most definitely reach out to you especially, but the other parks board, as to where we're at. And there's going to be a long, lengthy conversation with the Board of County Commissioners as to what the county can and cannot do for an event like this. So that'll be coming probably fairly soon. I did give...
Rob has also reached out to the Nordic Ski Club for volunteer help with the volunteer force that they have. So the Nordic Club is getting together to come up with how many volunteers they can have available.
Yeah, that's good. He mentioned that, and I guess he has reached out to visit Casper also. I asked him for if he had any sponsors yet. He said they were working on that. So I gave them till August, I believe August 11th, to provide me that letter. And then hopefully I can maybe sit down in a work session with the commissioners on August 16th to kind of go through those details a little bit further and figure out who's committed to what and what can or cannot be done.
You might just make a note of this also, Michael, that usually on a big event like this, there's some sort of waxing facilities for the athletes or clubs. And if Rob is planning on having those available, or what his plan was to have something there that is available to all.
So right now, the plan in the application is they'll do the waxing in the hotel conference rooms, which my past experiences, hotels don't allow that. This is not just a skate event, which a lot of typical biathlon is just skate, but he'll have adaptive skiers there as well. So tracks will have to be set in the grooming, and I don't know if they'll have to do any additional waxing, kick wax, or anything like that for that. So.
Right. In the past, hotels have given rooms, separate rooms, as long as they put cloth and tarp down to not damage the floors. But that's up to the individual clubs or individual person. So that's the route they're going to go. That's good.
The other issue with that is fire code.
Yeah, fire code's an issue. I don't know if you can hear Dave, Jim.
You want to step up to the mic, Dave?
Turn on. Okay. Fire code's a big issue on that, Jim, because the waxing has to have the ventilation and suppression in those rooms. So they can't just put it into an open location. They have to have something where they have that access and they have the facility to actually take care of that and ventilate the room, as well as have that fire suppression in there. So that's part of the problem with trying to do it in a hotel lobby. They're not going to have those facilities. It's not designed for that. And So they really need to have something separate, whether that be a tent up there that they can ventilate and have the suppression in there, or something else. That's something that they're gonna have to look at.
End of March, it's going to be wet.
It is.
It's going to be really wet. Thank
Yeah,
you,
there's
Dave.
quite a few things that need to go on with this event. So I'm going to look at it and try and coordinate. It'd be a great event to have. I'm just not sure if our venue is ready for this type of event, so.
If we're going to do it, let's do it right.
Yeah. So that's all I have for the mountain.
Any other questions on the mountain? Okay, let's go for it.
So the next item I have in front of you guys is the Pathfinder Campground improvements. And I took excerpts out of the whole plan that I have. I'm actually meeting with the engineer next Tuesday, along with the Bureau of Rec, to kind of go through this plan and get everybody on board, get the Bureau of Rec on board with it, as well as you guys, before we really open it up and submit it to the public. So the first page basically shows what's going to be removed. There's an outhouse, single stall outhouse that we're going to remove, as well as all these picnic shelters. On the second page is the primary plan for the site. So with that outhouse being removed, we're going to install just up the hill from that a two-stall outhouse to help accommodate the traffic that's there. So currently, there's an outhouse up by the picnic shelter, which you can see the big green roof up in the top center there. There's a outhouse just south of that. And so we've designed these with 40-foot concrete RV slabs and a picnic shelter at each. I believe we may have added one or two sites to what was currently there. This would be real similar to Okie Beach, if anybody's been out there and seen the sites out there. For traffic control, basically, you would, if you had your RV, you come down the road and you see the big yellow parking area and with the arrows going south, you would enter there and then you would turn left to access all of the campsites. Now, if you're out there boating for the day, you would enter the same location, but you would turn right into one of the pull-through boat trailer parking spots and prep your boat, and then you would go down and around the curve to the boat ramp, and drop your boat in, and then come back and park your boat. So we've increased boat parking.
So that's a new ramp.
Yeah, it's a proposed new ramp.
Will you keep the old one at all, or?
We will keep the old one.
Okay.
And potentially, possibly patch it or improve it after the new one's installed. And then the following page has a little bit different layout, and the reason for this layout is we've created an access point to get to the beach during low water. A lot of people prefer, and like right now the water's low, people don't want to camp at their picnic shelter, they want to camp down along the water. Now, because this will go into the reservation system, my initial feeling is I don't want, when it's low water, to be first come, first serve and be overwhelmed. So we're looking at, if you want to camp here, you need to reserve a spot. Whether you use that spot or down on the water line, you could do that. The spot would look vacant, but that's your reservation. That's where you're at. So we're still working through that. That's logistics, not construction on this project. But I wanted to show both alternatives, kind of see how everybody feels, whether we need to have access to the beach for low water or,
Absolutely, I think so.
yeah. The riprap shown for the shore barriers, that's potentially going to come from there's a large stockpile that came from when they raised the dam up by the old dam tender's cabin.
Right.
And we believe there's enough material to take care of that, plus shore up the boat ramp, concrete pad with riprap on the side, so it doesn't undercut and things of that sort. And then we have some day-use parking for single vehicles in the area that we've added. Not sure how we're gonna delineate the boat parking, but, you know, there's potential for using a log, there's potential for putting in pins or some sort that, you know, won't get damaged when driven over, but delineates that this is a parking spot so that it's more organized than sometimes it's been in the past.
That'll help a lot.
Yeah.
It sure has worked at Okie.
And you guys can comment, share this, have them send comments on it, to kind of lay that out. Let's jump ahead to, let me remember what I gave you. I have some other things here. What's the next page after the, you guys have a boat ramp page layout?
Yeah, that's further on.
Yeah, let's go to that.
BP3, okay? Jim, we'll get you all this.
Thank you.
So the boat ramp design, as you can see, there's a gangway up at the top, and then this is what they call easy dock, is what we're looking into. It's sectional. It can be drug across the ground with a pickup. It's lightweight. It'll be pinned probably every 25 to 50 feet to keep it in place, but we can potentially have 200 feet of dock out there. So loading and unloading boats, this allows for several boats to be tied off to this boat ramp while getting your truck and trailer to unload. Where the old boat ramp, you could have two boats tied to it basically, and it kind of gets backed up on the busy days. So this should alleviate a lot of that. And
That'll help with the storms, because when the storms come in, people come flying to that ramp and
yeah.
they gotta wait. And it's nasty there.
And the following sheet is a typical layout for the campsites. The 40-foot concrete pad, 12 by 12 shelter, picnic table and fire ring, with radiuses and accesses to show how they're backed into and the pull-throughs. And the shelters are most likely gonna be the all-metal shelters that we have at Okie Beach. Kind of carry that same motif over into all the lake campgrounds.
Thank you.
On page DET4, which I think is the last page, we're planning on improving the existing group shelter. What you see here is these rolling metal shutters that would be installed to the inside where the plywood is up in the second picture, so they could be rolled down and locked. It'll keep birds out and kind of help facilitate cleaning it. They're gonna install a lockable door on the entryway, and the bottoms of the trusses are gonna be covered in sheeting, probably fireproof OSB. I don't know if they specified that here at this time. But basically, not fireproof, but fire resistant. That way if somebody's lighting a fire in there, it's not gonna be catching everything on fire.
Do we have a lot of troubles with birds and things in there?
Yeah, so my caretakers will go out here on a Friday afternoon because somebody wants it for Saturday, clean it all up, and then the owls will be in there and other birds, and it is a complete disaster Saturday morning. So this will help us maintain it. It'll cut down on the maintenance of cleaning it out for people that rent the shelter.
Answer your questions, Doug, on the size of the spots?
Yes, the revision, Michael, addressed just about all my questions about use and location and sides. That's excellent, thank you very much. My only remaining question on the layout is the very first spot with the pull-through of the next one. I still have concerns that if they are both occupied, the pull-through guy couldn't egress if the back-end guy has his truck parked in front of the camper pad. That looks a little tight there.
Okay.
So that's, but everything else, they got the picnic tables on the right side of the driveways now. That's looking good.
Well, in all of these campsites, if you put a trailer in it, your door opens to the lake. So,
Yep.
so
And to the table, yeah, good.
Aesthetics as well. Good plot there.
Just quick comment. On C2, when we look at the three parallel sites, I was trying to scale that a little bit, but it looks to me a little tight. Can you spread those out at all so you're not right on top of the person?
Yeah, that's a good comment, is the three angle back ends towards the parking lot. They seem to be
Looks like there's a little room, you might be able to stretch those out a
15
bit.
feet
So,
apart, maybe? I don't
yeah,
know.
this is a revision. What they originally had is you see the existing road underneath.
Yeah,
They kind of followed that and had pull-through sites, 3 pull-through sites, but there really wasn't enough width to get past the first site if somebody's occupied and get into the next one and next one. So this was an alteration to alleviate that, but yeah, they could potentially
yeah.
space those out a little bit.
The design is much better than the prior version. Just like Rob said, we might want to ask them if there's room to spread them out just a little bit.
And just to be clear, you're talking about the 3 back-end sites.
Yes, the three
Right
back-end
there.
sites.
Yeah, they're on top of the old
That are not
existing
on,
ones.
not on the lake side of the road yet.
Correct.
Okay.
And my other question is, did the engineers make use of the Bureau of Recs recreational design document from 2013?
I believe so.
Great.
So,
I'd just come across that and it looked like great information, and we all know how fun it is to work with the DOR. So if we use their information.
are you
then-
talking about the resource management plan?
No, there is a
No, their actual
recreation
document is-
facility design
Yeah,
guidelines.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
I know they've investigated a lot of different requirements and things for this, so.
Okay, that'll probably make the conversations with Bureau Rec go a lot easier.
Answer all your questions, Rob?
Did, yes, thank you.
Okay.
That's all I had on this.
Just, Mike, just curious on there, it says that the picnic tables need to meet a certain spec. Are those like precast or?
No, they'll probably be the expanded metal with the coating on them. Those seem to hold up better. They're more economical than some of them, and so, yeah.
Any other questions or concerns at this point?
No, it's looking good.
Michael, what do you need from us?
I guess, at this point, I'd like to have the Parks Board kind of, general approval that this is a design process we want to go with. It sounded like everybody preferred the beach access, so.
I would agree with that, yes.
Just want to understand. I would just want to understand what type of signage or how we inform the users as to, I like your plan about not having a free-for-all on the beach, but communicating that to drive-ups
Yeah, so,
Obviously, you got the reservation system, but still some people come in and have to find a sign, oh, I got to call for a reservation. And that beach access would just be a little tricky and you want to make sure
Yeah,
that you
so
properly sign it.
I'm gonna recommend a sign that says, reservation required at that access point.
Good.
For overnight stay, yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, day use, they can
Yeah,
go
they
down in
use, they can
there.
go down there all they want.
You bet. But I can see that to be a problem, you're very right, Doug. It's open, it's all that room down there, why can't I put 3 campers in?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well.
and so, at the end of the campsite where the camp road, the one-way heading northeast to the main road, we're planning a do not enter sign there.
Yep.
Where you enter the parking lot, will have a campsite and boat trailer enter sign there. There'll be a stop sign down at the bottom where you split and either go to the campsites or the boats.
C4 has all the signs.
Okay.
There'll be, did I give you C4?
Yes, you did.
Okay, good,
So-
good. I wasn't sure.
I know what he was looking at, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. So you can see that there's a signage plan that's going along, and this will be developed as well. But we hope that it alleviates the confusion out there and makes it for a better time in our campgrounds
Yeah.
with the improvements, so.
The ramp and the dock alone will be huge. No, everything's gonna be so much better out there,
Yeah.
they'll love it.
And it'll totally clean up the closest area to the boat ramp is kind of a free-for-all with all the use drive.
Oh, it
You know,
is,
There's
yeah.
no real established site there.
Yeah, and
away
we'll
from the water,
continue
so
to have
that's gonna
boat
be great.
parking in the existing parking area. There'll be some signing around that to kind of direct traffic appropriately to come around the parking lot, back into the boat ramp, launch your boat, and then pull in that red hatched area on C2. You can kind of see parking lines there, so,
But no parking really up at the marina then.
yeah. And,
You'll have to you'll have to park with the boats.
yeah.
Okay.
And one benefit to this is the project manager at WWC utilizes this a lot. So he's familiar with how
and
this
its
operates
use.
Good.
and whatnot, so
Good.
they're excited about the project. They're also designing the Sage Campground and the Weiss Campground. We have preliminary designs, but this is the one.
They'll start with.
Yeah, we're hoping to, the goal is to try and get this sent out for bid advertisement sometime in August with the hopes of having a construction contract by October so that they can construct this through the winter and have it up and going before the next season. And the way the water is going right now
Gives them lots of room to work.
gives us a lot of room for the boat ramp.
Yeah. And then the other 2 campgrounds will follow the next 2 years or all
Yeah,
at the time? Or
that
the
kind
next
of
2
depends
together?
on lake funding and how that works, but yes.
Okay.
They're the next ones in the queue to get done. You know, we've done quite a bit of improvement at Alcova, so now it's time to use lake funds and try to improve Pathfinder.
Excellent. One last question, Michael. With I see we got an ADA accessible site here, and I didn't know if there was any requirements on distances to an outhouse, because it looks like with the removal of the one that, the closest one is up by the group shelter to the camping area. Is that
Right.
correct?
Right.
And I didn't know if there's any regulation requirements that say you have to be within 200 feet of a bathroom.
Yeah, and I defer that. I'm letting the professional engineers kind of
Yep.
set that up, but distance to outhouse.
Then we have no trailer dump up there, do we?
Actually,
There's one
It's
down the
over
road.
by-
as you exit Pathfinder Road towards the dam, there is an RV dump.
Okay.
And the only improvement we plan on that is to improve the turn radius for campers, because it's kind of tight, making that U-turn up in there, so.
Okay, I
But
remember
yes,
it
we
now.
do have a dump station there.
Yes.
We'll go drive through this weekend.
The last thing I have to report is some Alcova issues. I issued letters to, actually hung them on every door in the trailer park and posted signs at the trailer park trashes, the Little Beach trash, and the cabin trash as to what is allowed in the trash. We'll see if it does anything, but there's pallets, there's couches, there's branches, and it should just be for personal trash, your household
Residential
trash.
waste.
So we'll see how that goes. I talked with several people out there. Most of them are pretty understanding. I have several photos from a security camera that shows people not getting out of their golf cart and just throwing the trash towards the dumpster. People dragging large pickup-sized cardboard boxes out of their bed and putting in there. So I'm not sure if I can identify anybody to basically issue a warning under their lot permit saying, if you're caught doing this again, I'm gonna penalize you $1,000 under the penalty clause of the lot permit. And the cabins have the same issue with people putting lawn chairs and everything else there. It's not as noticeable because the cabin dumpsters are not next to cabins and they're not along a main thoroughfare. So they get overwhelmed, but I don't hear about them except from Mr. Hill.
Yeah, we can talk about those, because they were a mess this last weekend, or
Yeah.
so, weekend before it. We got to put fences around them somehow out there.
Yeah.
The garbage through there is so bad. I mean, it was great that they could get picked up that Thursday, but then they didn't get picked up till the next Thursday.
Yeah.
Well,
and-
now there's bags in front of garbage cans in this heap of pile. And every bird and every raccoon and every skunk has got that stuff everywhere. And, we got to do something. Even, 4th of July, an extra dump the day after.
Right.
I know it's more money, but
Well, and
this
I
is
didn't.
terrible. Every one of the trash cans at Alcova was,
I
It's
didn't set
overwhelmed.
that up this year because Tuesday would have been a pickup and normal pickup's Thursday. Waste Connections has limited ability. I was told there was over 21 tons
oh, yeah.
came out of Alcova and Pathfinder.
Oh, yeah.
2 full trucks, they went back Friday. But it would be a vast improvement if people put in there what's supposed to be in there.
Agreed. And at the association meeting, they asked everybody there, but attendance wasn't that good, I know, for at least the cabin area side. I mean, they dumped it on Thursday, and on Friday, one of the garbage cans was already filled up with massive boxes.
And I'm working on getting an email list for every cabin owner and every trailer owner so that I can send out a blanket email.
Beautiful, yeah.
saying- But not everybody wants to provide their email. I've requested it, and it's a work in progress.
Okay. I do think putting some sort of fencing around that, I mean, there's lake funds, it's not a ton of money. We do it on the mountain, we do it elsewhere, but we have no protection there. And that garbage is it goes right down that gully, the rain comes, which it did, and, we just got a mess. We need to do a better job. We took our own garbage home. There wasn't any more room to put it, but
Well, and
a
that's
lot
what-
of people do that.
That's what I typically do on
But
a
so many
holiday.
other people are coming and dumping in there, and even the garbage guys are saying, hey, I watch guys coming over from the other side of the lake, and they're dumping in your cans.
Yeah.
While he's dumping our cans, he's watching others come from elsewhere.
Well, and we had a full outhouse before the holiday weekend at Okie Beach. The reason it was full, and I'm pretty definite on this is the reason, because other outhouses at Okie were not full. Somebody was dumping their RVs into it. They're popping the manhole, dumping their black tanks. So I hate to say it, but I'm probably gonna have to install locks over the manholes. But there were tracks there, you could see how it pulled up before we got there to clean it out.
Is there a dump station over by the full hookups?
Yes, there is.
Yeah, a
There's
nice
a
one.
dump
They wouldn't
station,
drive,
and it's free
What,
use.
that 5 miles?
That's not even 5 miles.
Less than that.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
To a very, very nice dump
So-
station. Yeah,
And the only reason I bring this up here is it's a public meeting.
yep,
Maybe somebody will care and listen to the YouTube, I'm not sure. So,
it's a problem.
Use the dump station.
Speaking of which, I guess Skunk Hollow's full?
we were up there yesterday pumping it, and the truck had an issue.
No, no.
And so I think they got that done, but we're working on those as well. So I'm not sure where we're at with that, but, yeah, that truck's, has some issues sometimes and can upset, and it's not pretty when it upsets.
No, no.
So-
But that was definitely, I've seen lots of public comment about the outhouses on the mountain and understanding what kind of schedule that they're inspected, cleaned, or,
So-
we gotta pump it.
Yeah,
I know
so.
You mentioned we're having equipment issues that's impacting regular,
Well, and let me
functioning.
explain that a little bit.
Yep.
There are 53 outhouses in the park system. The truck that the parks has holds one outhouse. So you can potentially get 2 outhouses pumped out in a day. So you're talking about 30 workdays of staff doing only outhouses throughout the season. Now, on the mountain, I have 2 full-time maintenance guys and 1 caretaker. Caretaker doesn't pump outhouses, he cleans them. And then at the lake, I have 2 maintenance guys to do that job. But here's the caveat, I have 1 guy with a tanker endorsement on a CDL. So I have 1 guy that can drive that truck. So we're very limited in managing all of the other duties and maintenance, so we try to get to them as quickly as possible. Contracting out this service, from what I've seen and heard, is very expensive. So, it won't happen this budget, but possibly next year, we'll look at a potential way to contract it out, or at least some of them. Also, our vac truck cannot access the manhole on some, like Rotary Park. The way the boom swings and everything, you cannot access those manholes to pump those out. So we have to hire somebody to do that. So it's a very complex system for the sanitary throughout the parks. And, you know, and I've heard people say, well, if you're sucking out an outhouse at the lake, why can't you just dump it into our sewer system? Well, if you know anything about sewer lagoons, it will upset the ecology of it if you put that massive amount in at that time, and we don't want that. So it's an operational issue. It's having enough staff, enough equipment. It's something to be worked on, so.
thanks, Michael, that's
Yeah.
a
Yeah, I mean, you'd
great
have to do.
information to communicate to the public, so they have a question, and that's information
Yeah.
I'm sure nobody had.
And here's the other thing, that vac truck will get backed up and have problems because people put their trash in the outhouses. We've come across lawn chairs, garbage bags, clothes, you name it. You know, and so that's another issue that complicates the entire problem.
Thank you very much. I mean, you almost could have somebody or a team of people doing this every day to get
Yeah.
to 53 outhouses.
Yeah. You know, and some of these outhouses, I don't know if you've been out to Wolf Point and at Pathfinder, it's not easily accessible.
No.
Especially with a tanker truck, so, yeah.
All right.
That's all I have.
That you
for-
have. Okay. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate your report today. Let's go to, any questions for our director? Jim, you got anything?
No, maybe just a comment. I I've been looking into, along with others, of the possibility of that, the water system up on the mountain. And I would like to continue research on that. It's okay to see what can be done, what maybe the cost can be, and just continue researching it to see what we can get up there for water to the campsites, and also for the fire situation.
Were you able to read Joe's response on water for fires and where it's located and whatnot?
No, I don't have coverage of that.
Okay, well, I included it in an email. There's several locations for water for major fires. And then after his review with caretakers and things, even in Skunk Hollow, where they're 10 feet from a creek, people will not extinguish their fire. And so that's an ongoing thing. The caretakers therefore extinguish the fires. The water system that used to operate in Bear Trap, we had to close it due to some EPA requirements for our water system. I have put a call into an engineer that prepared a plan for a water system for the campgrounds, trying to find his cost estimate, which would have been done 4 or 5 years ago. I saw one thing that had it up where, and it wasn't a complete estimate, it was just an installation of a tank and things like that, which we went with a tankless system now for the lodge. But that was probably in excess of $350,000, if I recall. But I'm waiting for his response to see if he has a rough cost estimate of what it would be. But the EPA DQ, from our understanding, from what Joe's dealt with, require that system to be pressurized and maintained, buried to a certain depth. And for 3 months in a campground of operation, it just doesn't seem economically viable to do that. I'm not opposed to anybody looking into it, but from an operational standpoint, it just doesn't seem like it's a good idea. And that's my opinion and my field super's opinion on the water system there. He's got records of how much water was used, and it's very minimal in that site. The other thing is you have to test every spigot somewhat regularly, and somebody washes a dirty diaper on a spigot, and then there's potential for contamination. So there's a lot of factors there that we can work through, and I think the largest factor is if we have a public water system in the campgrounds, how do we limit the private owners from filling their tanks on the county's dime? And Joe has in the past cut off the threads from the spigots that were there that we're using, but they would still go and they would tape up their hose and whatnot to fill their things. So, I don't feel the county should be just unabatedly providing water to private landowners.
Fair enough. I'll probably still do some research on it, see what state parks have done and whatnot, just for my knowledge and other people who call me and say, what's up? So, good. I'll just...
That sounds good. I'd appreciate if you share that with me, and I can, once I get this file cleaned up, I can share some of the information that was looked into professionally 4 or 5 years ago.
Thanks, Mike.
Wonderful.
That'd be great.
All right, at this point, I'm going to go to public comments. Everybody in the public who'd like to comment? Step on up, give us your name and address, please. And, yeah. There we go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and board members. My name is Holly Wilhelm, and I reside at 1454 South Melrose Street in Casper. I wanted to give my support for all of the agenda items discussed tonight, and I am excited and appreciate the boards and other officials working diligently on these projects to improve Natrona County's recreation and community togetherness. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for attending tonight. All right, Dave, do you have any comments tonight? Push and wait.
Hey. Those are a lot easier to use.
They are.
The one thing that we are moving forward on is we've approved a budget so we can continue to cut the standing dead in Ponderosa Park. That was one thing that I wanted to make sure we are going to be moving forward on that. We're looking at options as far as getting some of the dead trees that we've cut stacked into an easier location for people to get that and remove those out of there. So I've been working with Michael on that, and hopefully we'll have a solution here before too much longer.
And on that note, we now have a schedule in my office for the public that wants to collect firewood from Ponderosa Park. They can come in, pick out a date. It's a 2-day window, sign their liability waivers, and then they can go up and take as much of it as they can get. The reason we're limiting 3 people in each 2-day window so that the traffic with trailers and trucks, it doesn't get too confusing and too congested.
Yeah. Most of the standing dead that'll be cut this year is actually going to be up on the Whiskey Ridge area. That's where a lot of that standing dead still is, and then we'll be working on some of the areas later on around the Ponderosa shelter and the bathroom up in that area too. Just to clean it up, just to make it safer for everybody. So those are the big things I think that we need to continue to work on and make sure that we get that done. I'm looking forward to getting one of the shelters taken care of at Bear's Trap. We did approve enough money to get one of those completed. The cost of everything has gone up dramatically this year, and so that's going to limit what we can and can't do. I'm also glad that we're moving forward and we're getting a whole lot closer on the Nordic Lodge. That's also a positive. And that's been a long time coming, but I think we've got a design now that we can work with, and with the parking lot, we'll do what we can with the money we have, and we can always work on that at a later date. So, have you guys got any questions for me?
No, I did want to make one comment on the lodge I may not have made is, at the last meeting, Commissioner Milne gave the go-ahead for the architect to get a professional cost estimate on the building. So once we have that, a little more public, we'll get that in front of the commission, and then we'll go forth with some public comment on the building and see how the public feels about the concept.
Commissioner North, the budget on the Nordic Lodge, has that been determined for the priority 1? Or it's still working?
We have approved I can't remember just exactly what the number is.
The original financial constraint was 2.8 million, and I thought that was just for the construction, but we need to reduce that by the amount of the architect's contract, so it's approximately just under 2.5 million. And at this time, I've heard no word as to where the school district might help fund any of this.
Yep, my understanding on that is that they've already allocated their rec funds for this year, but they are still willing to work with us on that, but it'll probably be after we get it completed before they pitch in the money.
So that could help with a phase of a parking lot or something like that.
In the future, that may be something we're looking at. And, and so much of it this year has been a challenge because of the revenue. We've had so much variation in what the revenue coming in are, and because of the inflationary levels that we're looking at, I mean, I know Road and Bridge, just their fuel cost went through the roof this year. And it's going to be the same thing for everything else. And so there's a lot of expenses that, not trying to dodge a bullet or anything, but there's a lot of stuff out there we just flat out don't know right now. And because we're working within a balanced budget, we've got to know what we have before we can really commit to, a lot of different things. And so there's some items this year that we actually cut back on. That doesn't mean that we're not going to look at them in the future. But as of right now, that's what we have to do, just because we want to make sure we've got everything covered. We want to take care of the county the best we can and get as much bang for the buck as we possibly can. That's getting to be more and more of a challenge because the buck is not going nearly as far as it once did.
Any other questions for our commissioner? I understand we have a new director now,
Yes, we do.
July 1st.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Congratulations, Michael.
Yeah, congratulations. I think it's fantastic. He's going to need help. He's going to need some staff over there.
He's brought that to
Please
our
refer
attention.
to Commissioner North's prior comments.
Yeah, I know.
Refer to my
I heard
prior
it.
comment. We are actually, there's going to be a transition period, and Michael knows this. We all know that. And instead of getting the cart before the horse, we need to find out what our real needs are before we jump into something. And so we're not saying no, we're saying let's see what we need.
Okay. We've gone through 3 directors, everyone without a person as an assistant, and we've lost all of them. So we got to be careful. We like him, and we
Well-
want to tear him out. And as you heard, all the projects here, that's a lot for one person to try to do.
It really is. There's a lot on the table right now for the parks. And everything from both ends of the county, from the west to the east. And so there are a lot of items that we need to take care of, and we need to make sure that we get things done. I think that's something that having Michael on as a director now, that can focus specifically on parks and not other items too. I think that's going to make a big difference as far as what we can do and getting that focus, because it takes a lot of time.
It does. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, board comments. Jim?
At 9,400 feet, I have no comments.
Rob?
Oh, just briefly, I enjoyed looking at the design here, and I think it's such exciting news to be talking about having the Nordic building back up there, or the Nordic Lodge. A couple thoughts on it, too. I belonged to some associations over the years that used the old one for meetings. I hope that we can maximize usage throughout this by opening it to the public at a cost for events and things like that.
Yeah, that's our intention. Let's make it multi-use,
Yeah.
year-round availability so that we get a pretty good ROI. We'll never get return on investment for the dollars, but for public usage and other groups to use it, that's where the ROI comes in, is the enjoyment of the facility.
Sure, absolutely. And just lastly, I'm hoping to find some guiding documents for the board that exist with possible bylaws or anything like that, so I can familiarize myself with the structure and role of the board.
I don't know if we got anything. I'll look through my old stuff. I used to have a book, but it's pretty generic, so I'll see what I can find also. Things may be changing, too. Doug?
Just want to say I wish I was at 9,400 feet with Jim there.
Agreed.
But again, thank you, Michael. It's been wonderful to see all the progress and how you're juggling a multitude of projects, and we really appreciate all the hard work you're putting in. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm excited for this new position. I'm hoping I'll be here for 20 years with the county and kind of finish out, hopefully, my work life, but maybe not. You know, I enjoy the lake, I enjoy the mountain. I've grown up here, so that's great. And, you know, these projects are the fun part of the job.
Yeah.
I could go on for hours as to the day-to-day little minutia that has to be done. You know, I was out the other day, going through boat trailers to see if everybody had permits and flagging the ones that we don't. You know, before the 4th, I was walking through all the trailer parks hanging flyers, you know, to try and get people to understand what we need to do. So, yeah, there's quite a bit of that to be done too. But, yeah, I hope I can stay around here, but I'd prefer to do these capital type projects and engineering type stuff than signing invoices and,
Pumping out sewers?
yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I went out when they did the Oakey Beach one so that I could see what it took to do it and understand the process. So, I'm trying to spend more time with staff on the ground to understand what we have on our day-to-day, to understand where we can improve it and where we could reinforce it with additional staff if that's a possibility. But, you know, we operate pretty well for the crews we have.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You really do, and I guess that's my comments. We've been throwing some spitballs at you, and you've been hitting them. You've been handling them. We really appreciate it. Really, really do. Some great, it's good to see these plans moving forward, get the public involved in them again. That'll be nice. I understand why they really weren't at first, but, you know, really, there's a lot of public comment in these. I mean, what I saw at our public meetings, we did have these new drawings for the Trail Center come very close, so I think they handle a lot of that. I think it's going to be close to what everybody wants. Like multi-purpose, absolutely. Anybody can be up there for meetings. Hopefully, we can have this meeting up there.
That would be cool.
That would be really nice. I really want to do that,
There's
so.
been lots of requests from the mountain folk to see if we could split time and have some meetings up there so they could attend more easily.
That'd be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that to happen. Hopefully, it's in the next year or so here, 2 years to get her done, maybe, huh?
yeah, we'll
But
see how
we'll
long
see.
it takes, but we'll get it done.
There's a lot of hoops to jump through, so. That said, no more comments. We'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting.